whistling kites, rounded tail. Quite a large group of whitebirds out in the water there you can see working together. They're actually royal spoonbills. Now they're one of two spoonbills we get in Australia. These guys have a black bill and black legs and very broad spoon-like bill on the end, like two spoons clamped together basically. It's quite a sensitive device, and you'll see them feeding there at the moment. They actually sweep the head back and forth sideways with the bill slightly open, and when they touch prey they'll actually grab it and you'll see the head go up in the air and they throw it through to the back of the throat. And one just coming into land there, when they're flying they actually fly with a straight neck with the spoonbill, but you'll see the egrets have got that big bend in the neck. There's a couple there chasing each other. They're great egrets that just landed in the middle there, those two big whitebirds. But yeah, the funny bend in the neck, quite pronounced in flight for the egrets, whereas the spoonie has a straight neck, so it's a bit easy to pick them when they're in the air. Now these whistling kites are actually zooming around picking up fish here. We saw one land, and not land, but take there's some Pacific black ducks flying across there too. You can see the ducks heading out the far side. Look for the green flash on the top of the wing. They have a little colour patch on the top edge of the back of the wing. It's called a speculum. It's usually iridescent green. Looks magnificent in the bright light. Yeah, so we did see a kite take a fish from the water in flight, pretty spectacular. And there's a few ibis hiding in amongst the spoonbills over there too. They're the Australian white ibis. And we do have some straw-necked ibis around here earlier. I saw some brown ones with the white neck. They have a yellow straw-like protrusion at the base of the neck when they're in breeding mode. And just in front of us, just coming along on the right here, you'll see a bird flying across the waterhole. This is actually an Australian darter. That's the female. You can see they've got the white belly and the dark back, and the darter has a very pointy beak, and just like a cormorant they swim underwater to catch their food, but they actually spear their food with the beak. They don't actually grab it like a cormorant. Cormorant's got a big hook in the top of the, or in front of the upper mandible of the upper beak, and actually have a fairly short stout beak too, the cormorant, whereas the darter actually has this long pointy beak like a dart or a spear. Now they sometimes refer to the Australian darter as the snake bird, because being a water bird that dives under the water, they don't want to float very well, so they tend to preen their feathers with oil glands that they have on their body. There's a black kite having a go at a whistling kite there, they're having a bit of a stoush. So the black kite's got a slight indent in the tail, whereas the whistling kite's got that rounded tail. Black kite, the same species as Molly back at the campsite there. Yeah, so they tend to sink fairly low and they're swimming around in the water, and basically all you see sticking out is the big long black neck, so it looks like a snake cruising around in the waterhole, so that's the name snake bird. Now this waterhole is typically chock-a-block full of vegetation about now. It's a plant called bulgaroo sedge, and due to the continually wet conditions it hasn't recovered or regenerated yet, and there's a drying period in the waterhole here for it to fire up again. These reeds around the edge here are different species altogether. The bulgaroo sedge, when it's going, will completely cover the water surface here. It'll be about 1 metre deep, and you'll find that it's one of the most popular food sources for wetland birds and animals in Australia. Now they tend to pull the plant out when they're eating it because it exposes all the tubers on the roots. They have these little bulbs like squashed apricots in size. They're quite nutritious, and they'll also target the rhizomes or new shoots on the plant as well when they pull them up.